SpaceX is making rapid progress toward the next flight of Starship, and the latest updates are nothing short of impressive. But will this be the booster that finally flies it? Pad B is nearing completion at an incredible pace, but it's also revealing some surprising new features. Meanwhile, Booster 17 is already halfway done, yet there's a real question of whether it will even get a chance to fly. And beyond that, the next generation of boosters is taking a giant leap closer to reality. So, what's really happening at Starbase? What does this mean for the future of Starship? Let's dive into all the latest Starship updates. Things are moving at full speed at Starbase as SpaceX focuses not only on their flight hardware, but also on their critical ground systems. Their new pad infrastructure is just as important as the Starship vehicles themselves. After all, a rocket is only as good as the pad that launches it. We've seen time and time again that the current orbital launch mount has serious durability issues. From swaying problems on the catch arms to heavy wear and tear on the pad structure, SpaceX has had to conduct extensive repairs after every single launch. Flight 7 was no exception. It inflicted just as much damage to the launch pad as previous test flights. Post-launch repairs are well underway, and the bulk of the work is focused on the quick disconnect mechanism. The booster quick disconnect in particular took a heavy beating from the Raptor engine flames. This area wasn't designed to handle such intense heat exposure, and SpaceX is now replacing several key parts. These repairs will likely take a couple of weeks before the pad is fully operational again. But while engineers are scrambling to get the current pad back online for Booster 15's static fire, its successor, Pad B, is taking shape at lightning speed. The new launch pad is shaping up to be a massive improvement over the old one. It's being built with lessons learned from previous flights, and it's coming together shockingly fast. One of the biggest changes? The chopsticks are now complete. On the 24th, SpaceX installed both massive chopstick arms onto the carriage system. After months of anticipation, the complete chopstick assembly was finally lifted and secured onto the launch tower. This critical milestone means the Pad B tower is nearly operational. But there's another major feature of this pad that sets it apart: the launch mount. Unlike the current mount, which has been struggling to survive each launch, Pad B features a flame trench. This design change is meant to direct the Raptor engine exhaust safely away from the structure, reducing the extreme damage that has plagued the existing pad. And here's something even more intriguing. A newly spotted structure near the flame trench could be a game changer. Our flyovers revealed a large metal rebar foundation being prepared next to the trench. It's still unclear exactly what this is for, but there are some interesting possibilities. One theory is that this will be a permanent retractable work platform, something that would make maintenance and repairs significantly easier. Right now, working underneath the launch mount is a nightmare, and a retractable platform would solve that issue. The second, and perhaps more exciting possibility? This could be the foundation for a mobile launch mount. If true, this would be a major shift in SpaceX's strategy. A mobile launch mount could allow for rapid reconfiguration, making the entire system more versatile. It's a fascinating development, and we'll be keeping a close eye on it. SpaceX isn't just upgrading its launch pads, they're also expanding Starbase itself. The first steps toward the next big expansion are now underway, and it's starting with a surprising move. SpaceX has officially purchased the Stargate building. This facility, which has been around since the early days of Starbase, was previously owned by the University of Texas and used for satellite tracking and communications. But now that SpaceX owns it, they can finally begin construction on their long-rumored Gigabay. This new factory will significantly boost Starship production capacity. More vertical space means SpaceX can build multiple boosters and ships at once, bringing them closer to their goal of launching a Starship every 3 days. Although we're not quite there yet, the pace of production is already remarkable. Speaking of which, let's talk about the next flight. Flight 8. The big question right now is which booster will fly? Booster 15 was originally expected to be the one. It's making great progress and has now received its grid fins, a key step toward flight readiness. But will it actually launch? There's growing speculation that Booster 14 might take its place. This was the second booster to be successfully caught by the tower, and it appears to be in better condition than its predecessor. Multiple sources have suggested that SpaceX is considering a reflight of Booster 14, which would be a massive step toward true booster reusability. The key factor will be speed. If refurbishing Booster 14 is faster than finishing Booster 15, then we could see the first ever reflight of a Starship booster. Considering SpaceX wants Flight 8 to launch before the end of February, the timeline is extremely tight. Will they actually attempt a booster reflight this soon? It's unlikely, but never say never. While all eyes are on Booster 15 and Booster 14, Booster 17 is already halfway built. Historically, the last vehicle of a production line often gets skipped. We've seen this happen with ships like Ship 20 and Ship 32, which never made it to flight. If Booster 17 ends up being the final Block 1 booster, there's a good chance it will suffer the same fate. But there's another possibility. SpaceX might stop producing Block 1 boosters entirely and move straight to Block 2. There are strong signs that Block 2 boosters are already in development. For one, SpaceX appears to be scrapping old Block 1 components, including header tanks. If these were simply discarded for design issues, that would be one thing. But this could signal the start of the Block 2 transition. Test Tank 16, which many believe to be a Block 2 booster test tank, has also been rolled into the factory for modifications. Unlike previous tanks that were scrapped, this one is still being worked on, suggesting it's a key part of SpaceX's next-generation booster development. Meanwhile, over at Massey's testing range, we've seen significant upgrades to the Can Crusher, SpaceX's device for stress testing rocket tanks. Recent modifications to the Can Crusher include simulated hold-down clamps to better mimic launch conditions. And intriguingly, a new metallic structure is being assembled in multiple sections, possibly for testing the addition of 2 extra Raptor engines. If this is true, it confirms that Block 2 boosters will feature a 35 engine configuration instead of 33, offering increased thrust and redundancy. All of these developments point to one thing: Block 2 boosters are coming soon. With rapid pad upgrades, a major factory expansion, and the possible shift to Block 2 boosters, SpaceX is moving faster than ever. The next big question is whether Booster 14 will be the first Starship booster to fly twice. If so, it will be a historic moment for SpaceX and a major milestone for Starship reusability. But beyond that, the transition to Block 2 boosters could be a game changer, taking Starship closer to rapid turnaround times and full-scale Mars missions. What do you think? Will SpaceX pull off a booster reflight this soon, or will they stick to their original plan? Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button, smash subscribe for more jaw-dropping space updates, and join us as we embark on a cosmic journey like never before.